If she's slipping from your life, this is how you make her come back. Not by begging, not by talking more, and definitely not by over-explaining yourself. You don't win respect by explaining your every move. You win it by standing still in your truth. Listen, most men lose respect not because they do something wrong, but because they can't shut up about it afterward. They explain too much, they try to justify every action. They want to make sure she understands. But here's the truth: the moment you start explaining, you start negotiating your value. Because when a man over-explains, what he's really saying is, please don't misjudge me, please still approve of me. And that energy, it kills attraction. It kills authority, it kills presence. Let's talk about why this happens. We live in a world where men are trained to seek approval from women, from society, from everyone. We're told to be nice, to be understanding, to make sure no one's upset with us. And that creates weak communication. It creates men who can't sit in silence, who panic when someone misunderstands them. But here's the secret most guys don't realize. Silence is more powerful than explanation. Mystery creates attraction, and calmness builds respect, because explaining too much doesn't make you clearer. It makes you look uncertain. It signals you don't trust your own decisions. When she asks, why didn't you text back right away? You don't owe her an essay. You say, I was busy. Simple, calm. That's confidence. Confidence is quiet. Insecurity is loud. Let's talk about the psychology behind it. Humans are wired to respond to emotional energy more than logic. When you explain yourself too much, you're operating from fear and your tone gives it away. You could say all the right words, but the energy underneath says, I need you to understand me so I feel okay. That's not strength, that's insecurity disguised as honesty. From a biological standpoint, confidence is connected to dopamine and testosterone, the hormones of certainty and direction. When you over-explain, you lower both. You shift from grounded masculinity to anxious energy. And women pick up on that instantly. The more calm and self-assured you are, the more her oxytocin and dopamine spike. Because your energy feels safe and stable. That's attraction at the primal level. So, let's apply Stoicism here. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, that's it. Be one, don't explain it. Don't defend it, don't sell it. Just be it. A Stoic man doesn't justify his actions every 5 minutes. He doesn't panic when people misunderstand him. He doesn't run after validation. He acts, stays silent, and lets time prove him right. Because over-explaining is emotional weakness, and silence is emotional strength. Here's how you break the habit. Step 1. Stop explaining things that don't matter. You don't need to tell people why you didn't answer the phone. You don't need to defend why you're working late. You don't need to explain why you're not in the mood. Every time you justify something small, you train your brain to think your choices need approval. Step 2. Answer once. Then stop if someone asks, why didn't you call? And you say, I was busy. Don't add a paragraph. Don't say I had a meeting, then traffic, then I was tired, then I forgot. Stop. Short answers create respect. Long answers create doubt. Step 3. Be okay with being misunderstood. This one's tough. You have to accept that sometimes people, even people you care about, will misread you. But your peace is worth more than your reputation. Stoicism teaches if your intentions are clear to you, that's enough. You don't need everyone to understand your path. You just need to walk it. Let me tell you a story. There was this guy named Chris. He was dating this girl who constantly questioned everything he did. Why didn't you reply fast enough? Why didn't you like my post? Why didn't you say goodnight? And every time he'd explain, he thought he was being honest. He thought, if I just make her understand. She stopped being upset, but instead, it got worse. She respected him less. The more he explained, the more she questioned. Until one day he stopped. He said, I don't explain myself anymore. I do what I say I'll do, and that's it. He stayed calm. He didn't argue. He just went quiet. At first she got angry. Then something changed. She started respecting his boundaries again. She felt his energy shift. Because women don't want a man who agrees with everything. They want a man who's grounded enough to stand by his decisions. Here's another case from history. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, was once mocked by his students for being calm. When people insulted him, someone asked him, why don't you defend yourself? He smiled and said, because truth doesn't need defense. That's Stoicism in action. And that's the same principle in your relationships. If your character is solid, if your intent is pure, your actions will speak louder than your explanations ever could. Let's get real practical. Next time you feel the urge to explain, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I saying this because it's necessary or because I want approval? If it's approval, stop talking. When you leave space in a conversation, something powerful happens. People start filling the silence with their own assumptions. And more often than not, those assumptions are better than your over-explanation. Silence makes people curious. It makes them lean in. It makes them think he must know something I don't. That's the power of restraint. Now let's be clear. Being silent doesn't mean being arrogant or emotionally distant. It means knowing when to speak and when to let silence do the heavy lifting. If she asks you something that deserves an answer, answer calmly. But once you've said your truth, stop talking. You don't need to sell your point. People remember confidence in tone, not the length of your sentences. Most men talk themselves out of respect. They explain away their power. They think clarity equals connection. But too much talking makes you predictable. When you explain yourself too much, you become noise. When you say less, every word gains weight, and that's what Stoicism is really about. Weighting your words with meaning. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine two men in the same situation. One gets accused of something he didn't do. He immediately starts explaining, raising his voice, defending, arguing. The other man says calmly, believe what you want, and walks away. Which one do you respect more? Exactly the calm one. The unbothered one, because calmness is proof of strength. Defensiveness is proof of insecurity. You don't need to explain yourself to someone who's already decided what they want to believe. Your peace is more important than their perception. You know what's funny? The more you talk, the less people listen, but the more silent you become, the more they watch. People trust what they observe more than what they hear. So stop trying to convince. Start showing. Show through consistency. Show through control. Show through the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. That's how you build respect. In silence, not in speeches. Here's your takeaway from now on. When someone questions your choices, answer once. When someone misunderstands, you stay calm. When someone demands more explanation, give less, because your peace isn't a group discussion. The less you explain, the more powerful your presence becomes. The less you justify, the more you look like a leader. And the more comfortable you get with silence, the louder your energy speaks. Because silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you've mastered yourself. A Stoic man doesn't talk to be understood. He acts to be remembered. He doesn't chase attention. He commands respect. He doesn't beg for understanding. He becomes undeniable, and that's your goal. To become so grounded, so focused, so at peace, that people can feel your presence even when you say nothing. Because only when you become uncheckable, only when you become untouchable, does the world start to move around you. So stop explaining yourself so much. You don't owe anyone an explanation for being who you are. Just show up, speak less. Move with purpose because silence. That's your new superpower. If you are ready to stop over-explaining, to stop chasing approval and to start owning your energy. Comment below you and irresistible. Because only when you become irresistible to yourself will the world start chasing your presence.